Okay, guys, welcome to SportsMatters TV. It's the 5th birthday. I'm absolutely honoured to have a former guest of mine on the show with me today, Mr. Raymond van Barneveld. One of the most iconic names in darts. I cried when the announcement was made that Raymond was coming back. It was absolute music to my ears. Raymond, first of all, it's been a crazy 18, 19 months for you personally. Obviously, lockdowns.
Yeah.
How have you been, those things?
Well, busy, to be honest. Focusing on the tour, on the floor tournaments. Mostly because when you had to start all over from scratch, you have to play all the series like I'm doing right now, and there is nothing more because I didn't qualify for the TV event so far. And it's a bit of a weird year because the PDC announced, say, in March and April, a couple of series. And then you're in the dark, you didn't know how to plan the rest of the year because you don't know what's COVID going to do or what the PDC is going to plan. You can't make decisions about going on a holiday because like 2 weeks ago, there were still series in August. So now the next ones are in October and November a couple, and then you got the Players' Championship finals and the World Championship, which I already qualified for.
Yeah. And like Raymond, you know firsthand what it's like to, when the gates are open, you know what it's like to travel. You don't have to worry about who you speak to, all that kind of stuff. Because look, obviously dart players have to kind of self-isolate. You go into a room, it's a dark place in that room on your own. You can't go to the local coffee shops and stuff. Like, how hard is that for a dart player? Because obviously, look, you remember the way it was back in the day to the way it is now. It's completely, it must be a shock to the system.
I know it's not handy right now. Normally you just drove up to Amsterdam airport, you took the flights and that was it. Okay, you had to kill some times because of luggage and all and check-ins, but that was it. Now you have to test 1 day prior to every event. We travel by car at the moment because that's more convenient. We do the train tunnel, in France, Calais, and then come over through Folkestone. So we're driving a lot right now. And then as soon as you come there, you have to be in quarantine, normally 24 hours in your hotel room. Now it's a bit okay right now. So you just do a self-test and then you're fine. But in the early days, my management, Ivo Kuitert and Jeffrey de Swan, were 24 hours on their room, which is disaster. It's feeling like you're locked up. Fortunately for me, I didn't have to do it. I think only 6 hours at the day when we were in Bolton. But like I said earlier, it's not convenient. Every day these rules are changing, and if you want to go back through France to Holland, France is changing every day their rules. Is it now that you have your 2 jabs, you're fine, you don't need a test, or no, and you call the government, no, you need still a test, and you don't know anymore, and that's a lot of extra stress and planning.
Yeah. We have to speak about Q School. Many a dart player I speak to that absolutely dreads Q School. Some will say it's almost as hard as winning a major. How did you find it? Obviously, look, you done well, you shined. We were happy to see it come through. Must have been a nervy time for
you. Not easy, as a 5 times champion of the world. With all due respect, you're playing there as a professional with starting players. I don't want to say amateurs because they're not. In a way, they're still working. I don't want to call them amateurs because I think it's not a positive word. But everyone wants your scalp. You're a 5-star, and everyone wants to beat you. And that happened almost every day except one day. I had to go back to really from scratch. You had 4 days. I don't know how to call it. They were in 2 parts. You had series 1 and series 2. I was in series 1, so I have to play 4 days to qualify for the eventual Q School. So 4 days there. Then I have to kill 4 days there because series 2 started. So you're doing practicing or whatever. So it cost me 12 days to get my Q School ticket. So it was all down in Germany. Not much on in the hotel. The restaurant was open every day, the same food, same menu. You couldn't go out, you couldn't go to after park because you would go straight disqualified. And Yeah, it was snowing at the time, so it wasn't very easy. But I managed to get the tour card, and then I think it was only 1.5 weeks later I started doing the first series in Bolton, and I got my first win. That was a big shock actually for me, because it was 5 years ago. I won my last Pro Tour in 2015, so we started really well. Yeah.
Yeah, and you played well that day. I know you beat Joe Cullen in the final, but we were all watching it in the live score on the Darts Connect. It must have been a relief just to do it, because, look, we know how good you were. Even when you were retired, a lot of us were saying, you know what I mean, Raymond shouldn't have retired. Look, there's obviously a small little patch in Darts where we might have a bad patch, but like your bad patch could be 100+ average. Do you know what I mean? And I know you want to play a better than that.
The thing is, I feel like in the last 2-3 years, I'm playing much better than I all did, in all my career. Back in the days, you couldn't see the averages. I trust me, in the tournaments I won in Holland, or competitions, or rank events, I was averaging 115. I'm pretty sure about that, but you never knew, because there weren't statistics at the time. Now everything is in statistics, and it can work in front of you or against you. Because a lot of these youngsters coming up, and they go to a tour series now, come back, and everyone can see they do an 82s average, So, and they are afraid that people will laugh about them, how you get on, 82 average, you're playing crap, And that's too much in their head. To me, I don't interested. I'd rather win with an 84 average than losing with 107, right? So they had to learn. And a part of that, I'm fine with the system at the moment. I think every time, if I qualify for the event, I see this as an extra bonus, and I like to play in a World Championship, and hopefully it goes through with that fantastic crowd against behind me.
I love it. Now, Raymond, I have to talk about Lakeside, just because I first met you in Lakeside in 2000 at the Wimbledon Masters, and I spoke to you many years later about that. But would you ever like to see the PDC perhaps do something at Lakeside, because you know firsthand how iconic that like the arena, the venue itself is iconic. But would you like to maybe do something there down the road, perhaps with the PDC at Lakeside?
Yeah, why not? Could be. Well, they never will host their World Championship there, because Alexandra Palace is much bigger. More people can go in. That's more income. That's more money. But I still believe that the BDO, or the World Darts Federation at the moment, is coming up with a new event there in January. So I think they're still there. I still played a couple of exhibitions through Motorsport for the last couple of years. So I've been back, and it always gives me goosebumps. If you go to that practice area, you all see the old pictures. They're still on the wall with all these players, and I love to go back. And when I see it, compared to Ali Pali and all these Premier Leagues I played, I'm thinking how small it actually is, compared to a 12,000 crowd, say, for instance, in Leeds with the Premier League.
So speaking of the BDO, we just have to mention, obviously, we lost a great player a while back, Mr. Andy Fordham. You know Andy quite well. Obviously, he was a big presence on the stage, and obviously he will remain a legend when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, Andy was a great player. He was, like I always said, he was the people's player. Everyone loved him. The way he was on stage, and well, after all, I think his health worked against him. I feel sad. 59 is way too young. Eric Bristow became 60. When he collapsed in Liverpool, I remember as yesterday. He was only 60 and he was just 59. So, it was a big shock. Yeah, because we spent a lot of time together back in the years, me, Coastal Bay, Roland Scholten. We always hang out with each other and restaurants and practicing. So, most of the times we saw each other every single week, right? Yeah, big shock.
Big shock. Now, I know Phil Taylor, no doubt, wanted you to perhaps go to the seniors. There's this big tournament in the Circus Tavern. Obviously, you're not done on the professional circuit, because you still have a lot to win. I personally believe you're going to win a major in the next 12 months in the PDC. I know your averages. I know your game. I know you're refreshed. The hunger is there. But that's something you might look at in perhaps 5, 6, 8 years' time.
Well, to be honest, if I didn't feel this, I could do this, I would never be coming back, you know, because I'm thinking I'm not gonna be there just to be in a like a standard player and do it for the money. No, I still believe I can win tournaments, and maybe not this year, but maybe next year or the year after. I got 5 more years to go, and I still regret the decision. I retired, but at the time it was needed. You know, I wasn't myself anymore, and that year without darts, brought me back to life really. Apart from COVID, of course, we couldn't do much. I did some TV tournaments, you know, like internet tournaments. I didn't really like them, you know. Yeah. But at the end, I met last year, roughly about now. I met Ivo Kuitert, who was a coach of mine back in Lakeside, and I met him in town with his wife. And he said, "Come on, Ray, we have a coffee." And he opened my eyes. He said, "Ray, what you need to do is get back to the floor tournaments and the Q school." I said, "You're kidding me, right? Because I just gave up. I just announced I'm retired. Everyone will have a laugh at me." He said, "Okay, what's the other option then? There are no exhibitions. God knows for how long, you know, we don't know. You don't earn money because you're not a player anymore. So sponsors don't want to put their logos on your shirt because of what? You know, because you're not on TV anymore. You can do some commentating at RTL 7 darts, but that's the only thing. Maybe this COVID is going to last for 2 years. So you're in divorce at the moment, like last year." And that was starting me thinking, yeah, because my biggest dream was, you know, if I retired and still be around the people and do an exhibition, which I love around people and fans, you know, and they can have their pictures taken with me. I can play against them. We have a chat. And I would have loved that, you know, and if the work was there enough, maybe I would never have come back. But there was not any work at all. Yeah. So that started me thinking, and then I said, "Okay, we're going to do this." And I got great sponsors from that point, from the 1st of October. My old manager, Ben de Kock, with his company, and a lot of big sponsors sponsored me, and off we go. And we practice normally 5 times a week right now.
Epic. Now we have to speak of the Barney Army, the most iconic, you know, fan base in all of darts history across Ireland. I know you were actually in Ireland just prior to when the lockdown was actually happening.
I know.
You had to hop on a plane quick to get back home. I remember that.
Yeah, that was still, that was April last year. I know that because of my big friend Alan Keown. He said it goes ahead, and 1 weekend later we were all in trouble. So funny enough, in February last year, I had a retirement night, you know, like a farewell night, and that went through. And then 1 week later, we should have go on a cruise, me and Julia, and that was cancelled. So we were right on time for that. And since that April, I think it was 2019 now. No, was it 2020 last year? Yeah. Not one single exhibition so far. So try to think of it. If I never would have come back, if I wouldn't have announced that I'm going to come back and get my tour card, you know, it's not that where I'm going to live from, but because there is money, of course. But you always like to have new targets in life, and you want to have that income, and you want to play well, and you want to play for these big crowds. That's it. And you can't say I'm going to skip Q school, say in February or January, because then the rest of the year you can't do nothing. There is not a second chance the rest of the year that you can say, okay, I skipped Q school in January or February. I'm going to come back in July, you know, 2021, I start playing again, because you're not allowed. Yeah. You need that Q school card, you know, that tour card. You need to earn that in January. And if you don't attempt there's nothing left from you the rest of the year. So I was thinking, and that was in October last year, I was thinking, if I don't do this in January, it's going to cost me 2021, because I can't do nothing then. There is no BDO, there are not other events what you can do. So at the end, I was a bit with my back against the wall as well to do this, but I didn't regret it. I still love it now. But I love the TV tournaments more than the floor tournaments. But I think everyone will do this.
TV tournaments are just around the corner, which we look forward to. We had a quick fan question from young Daniel. He's 11 years old. He goes, Raymond, can I have some advice? He's obviously playing darts for 4 or 5 years. He wants to be like
4
you.
or 5 years.
Yeah, he's
4 or 5 years, and he's 11.
Yeah, yeah. He said, what's the best advice you can give via practice? Obviously, match practice is probably a big thing too.
Well, I always say where you want to be from here. You know, if you just want to hang out with your friends and go later and practice, well, that's fine. But if you want to be the best, you have to put all and everything aside. You have to believe in it. You have to dream. I really dreamt that I was lifting these trophies. You know, I really dreamt it. And you have to give up all and everything, like birthdays, like social things, going out with friends or whatever, or go to bed early and wake up the following morning and traveling, you know, weddings, all kinds of stuff, holidays you need to cancel or whatever, because you always have to go ahead and believe in yourself and work hard. And if you do that, you can achieve all and everything. But at the end of my life, it maybe cost me 10 years of traveling I did in my whole life, you know. So you have to bear that in mind, because this is a serious thing. But not only darts, that if you want to be the best in every kind of sport, oh, you have to do all you can and work as hard as possible to being one of the greatest, you know, like Phil Taylor. You know, he always worked hard. And I think he still does. I think he still loves the game. He's retired, but I'm pretty sure he throws every day.
He probably does. Brian wants to know, do you think there should ever be a statue made for yourself in some part of Holland? We see the odd statue. Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone has a statue on the Philadelphia steps. But do you reckon they should conduct a little statue for Raymond van Barneveld in your hometown?
Well, normally in Holland that only happened when I passed away, so I don't think it's a good moment. No, they always do street names of sport person who passed away or whatever, like Johan Cruyff. Johan Cruyff is one of the famous footballers in Holland. So the Amsterdam Arena football stadium, you know, of Ajax, is now the Johan Cruyff football stadium. Rocky is just a TV personality, so of course Sylvester Stallone is still alive. I went to that statue as well in Philadelphia. It was amazing to be there. It was quite emotional as well. I did the Rocky steps, you know. I did the pictures with the, and he was one of my inspirations. You know, believe if you work hard and fight, but you have to believe you can do this, and I always did. And then you can come far, you know. But you have to dream. No dreams, no glory.
Most definitely. Now, last question, Raymond. Obviously, look, you've had so many iconic moments in darts. It's probably hard to pinpoint one, but Stephanie wants to know, what's your most iconic moment when it comes to darts? If you could pick one.
If you must realize, if you, like I said earlier, work so hard and you dream of things and lifting trophies, you know. And I always have, funny enough, I always had the dream that one day I will win the World Championship. When that finally happened, you know, I was in the final in '95. I lost to Richie Burnett 6-3, so I was close. And so if you can become runner-up, you can also win it, right? Because you have the abilities to become in the final. So why not win it the next time? And that's what I did in 1998. You must realize social media wasn't that big, but I always felt the pressure, and it was in the magazines. You know, Ray can handle the pressure. When the pressure is there, he collapses, you know, he's not on his best, and he will still lose. And when that moment came in 1998, I showed myself and the rest of the world, if you believe in things, I was just a postman, you know, and it doesn't matter who you are, what kind of job you do. If you believe in it and you work hard enough for it, then you can do this. So I fell on my knees, and from that moment, that changed my whole life, my whole career. I started to be a professional dart player from that time. Sponsors came. I became #1 in the world. I had 5 televised 9 darters. After that, 4 more world titles. Also, floor world titles at the BDO. Because in my opinion, no one talks about the BDO World Cup or Europe Cups. Yeah. You know, I won 3 official World Cup single events. So in my opinion, I'm an 8 times world champion, not a 5 times. But no one talks about it. You know, but I feel like I'm an 8 times world champion, and that's a lot. You know, I'm a European champion. I won so many tournaments, not in comparison with Phil Taylor, but you know, I won over 150 tournaments, I think, worldwide. And you can only do that in your belief of winning it and working hard for it. So that moment in 1998 was the most important moment of my life. But well, if you see later, you know, like the last couple of years back in Rotterdam, Ahoy with the Premier League, it's such a big honor, you know, to be there in your orange shirt and the whole crowd is orange. You must look this back, that walk on with me in Rotterdam in the Premier Leagues. You know, that is one of the amazing. And next to the winning Lakeside, you know, and my world titles, especially the first one in 1998. That was the most important moment in my life, darts-wise. And after that, of course, playing for these immense crowds, you know, like in UK, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and of course, one of the best in Rotterdam.
Definitely. Raymond, you changed the game. There's no doubt about that. You made the game what it is today, along with Phil Taylor. You know, Dutch darts is thriving thanks to you. The Dutch lads, you know, there's always a lot of money going on the Dutch lads when it comes to the big tournaments as well. We look forward to the rest of the year. Welcome back. I'm glad you're back. Next time I meet you, hopefully it's in person. Normally we're on camera after a big win at a major. Thank you for your time, and we'll catch you soon, Raymond.
No problem.
Thank you.
I hope to see you soon on the demo exhibitions circuit again. So I can't wait.
Definitely. Cork, Dublin, you know, Kildare, all the counties are waiting for you to come back. I know Alan will be on to you, and we're going to try and make some dates happen. So we look forward to it, Raymond.
Okay, pal. See you next time, Jerry. Bye-bye.
Be good. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.